Hello, beautiful friends. It's Kathryn Massell, Elevated Consciousness Coach and 5D Visionary. It is time for some Sunday support here in Global Acceleration of Ascension group. Hello. This very auspicious time of this very, very wide open 1221 portal, very, very potent and palpable energy of frequencies, jumping, shifting, a lot of timelines overlapping right now, really potent and magnetic energy, meaning we are magnetizing a lot of different things to us as we are vacillating between different dimensional realms of consciousness. We're sifting through a lot of stuff, so if it feels really heavy for you right now and you're kind of coming in and out of different emotional states, varying degrees of vibration in the body, there's a reason. We are jumping frequencies a lot right now. That's why it may be that your dreams are kind of hectic and crazy. Maybe even some of you who don't remember your dreams, you're remembering them, or you're having a connection with them. But I want to talk about real quick, tomorrow here in the group, we have All Things Ascension. Hi, Stacy. All Things Ascension, episode 3. We are going to be talking about something very, very powerful, and we're going to be sharing a potent activation. We are talking about the solar feminine Christ. We are talking about return of integrity to the sacred marriage, the sacred fire of the true organic masculine and feminine principles. Hey, Crystal. This is an opportunity to understand what that means, because I'm going to be discussing that, and an opportunity to stabilize, well, uplift and then stabilize your vibration with the activation that we're going to be doing. I don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but I'm being told not to prepare so much, but to just be open to this flow of energy. So it's going to be very dynamic and freeform and very in the moment, but nonetheless powerful and exciting. So if you have the ability to come share with us, and even if you can't make it live, my replays are always up on my YouTube channel. I'm easy to find. I'm at Kathryn Massell. Hey, Sharon. Hi, Jessica. And it will be here in the group. I'll always hashtag All Things Ascension and the episode number here in the group, so you can easily find it with the search bar. And as usual, I do post the YouTube replay in here as well. So if you can't make it live, it's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, 12/21. So there's that. But I want to talk about something very, very important right now that I don't want to say everybody's talking about the same things with the 12/21. Because that sounds dismissive and judgmental. It's not meant to be. But there's a lot of stuff that's just under the surface of what we're talking about that is so important, and I want to shed light on that. And one of those things is that because of the very powerful energies that we have, and it feels like it's kind of shifting us all over the place right now, but a way to stabilize that chaos and a way to find port in the storm. And by the way, the storms that we experience right now that are, I'm talking about physically, we're having a lot of geomagnetic activity, we're having solar flares, we're having coronal mass ejections from the sun, and we are having emotional storms, volatile interpersonal storms, transpersonal storms. We are having a lot of storms, but these things, yes, they feel like upheaval, but what they're doing actually is serving to clear and make room. Okay, it's important to anchor into that truth right now. Everything that's happening is making room. okay? So if you're feeling a greater need to purge, move away from the idea, I invite you to, move away from the idea that you're being tasked with yet another obstacle in your way, meaning you have this purging or this release that needs to happen before you can make room. Let's shift that. Let's reframe that. You're not being tasked with anything. Instead, you are being asked or invited, if you will, to make room for what's coming, okay? And when you feel into those words, you may want to listen to this again and just kind of close your eyes and hear the energy behind these words as I'm speaking. You'll understand that that's true, okay? So we're not being tasked with anything. We're being invited. We are being asked. We are never being tested by the universe. Please move away from these ideologies that keep us tethered to an old timeline that is rapidly fizzling out. The universe doesn't test you. That implies that the universe has judgment. Judgment is an ego construct, and it doesn't exist beyond 4D, okay? The universe is only ever asking you to make a choice, because we are beings and creatures of duality. We are always being asked to make a choice. And we're being asked to make a choice. What can help you find port in the storm is what is the God choice? Because this is going to anchor the unity consciousness on the timeline that is being presented to us as a gift, as an invitation from the universe. Like, hey, do you want this? Great, because here it is. We've already shifted. But the thing about timelines and the nature of timelines is we can always shift back to where we were. And it's always the tipping point of mass consciousness that makes us anchor either into one timeline or another. And if you keep making the God choice, you're pretty much ensuring and guaranteeing that we're going to anchor this new Earth timeline and be able to keep it. And what is the God choice? Well, number one, if you're in my Timelines Expanded class, I talk about it all the time because it has everything to do with anchoring the highest timelines for yourself individually and collectively. But the God choice is that which is aligned with the highest and best for you, the highest and best good of all, and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. This is the magic trinity. This is the secret sauce to anchoring unity consciousness here on the planet. And it's something you can do not only now, but in every moment in your everyday life. If you choose that, if you are taking up this invitation, this grand invitation, this gilded invitation from the universe that we're being gifted with right now, okay? So what I want to talk about, which is just right underneath the surface here of a lot of things that we're aware of with this new Earth timeline coming into play, coming into being, that every moment and every day we are anchoring more and more and more and making it more real, quote unquote. We are being asked to understand the essence behind what we really want. I mean, some people call it their why, but what it really is when we think about the essence of what we're truly asking for, just think about the things that you have been working towards in your life, okay? Not only this year, but maybe you've been working on it for a few years. Maybe you've been working on it for a decade. Maybe you've been working on it for your entire life, entire adult life. But we're being asked to find the truth and the essence of what you are working towards. So what we're being invited to look at by the universe as we anchor this new Earth timeline is to absorb the essence behind what we're working towards. Meaning, not what this looks like manifested in form, because everything's going to look different now. Everything's going to look different now. I'm just going to say it. Do not fear this sea change, because that's exactly what it is. Trust it. But before you can get to this place of trusting, and it'll be easier to trust if you can move into the vibration of what is the essence behind what I'm working towards? Not how it exists in form, but keep your heart and mind focused on the essence of what it is you're asking for. So if you're asking for a better career, a better professional life for yourself, for instance, yeah, maybe you want more money. Yeah, maybe you want more freedom. Okay. But what is the essence behind all of that? Okay. Freedom is part of the essence, and that's a clue to help get you to what's deeper underneath that. But we're being invited to really dig deep in what is the inner propulsion, if you will, the momentum behind our desires being that which we are working towards to manifest in the physical in some way, to support us better, to create a greater livelihood in our lives, to create more vitality and well-being. But what is the real seed, the essence underneath all of that? So maybe you can start thinking about like your ideal life, what would it look like in form? And then start reverse engineering from that until you get to the deeper why, the deeper essence. And you can do it by asking yourself, well, okay, if I want this amount of money to show up, well, what is that amount of money going to get for me? Why do I want this amount of money? Okay. And when you get to that why, you dig deeper underneath that why. You know, why, okay, I want this amount of money because I want to put it into a business where I can run retreats. Okay, why do I want to run retreats? What is the deeper seed underneath that? And keep digging. Keep digging. Because you're going to do a couple of things here. Remember a couple seconds ago I talked about, what did I talk about? I completely forgot. This is so top of mind for me right now that there are so many things and so many tethers and attachments to this topic that it's huge, really, when you start to unravel this. But when you start to really get to the seed or the essence of what you're asking for, you start to make room. That's my point. You start to make room because then you start clearing out all the clutter of, well, what's keeping me from having this now? I have this emotional clutter within where it says, oh, I can't have that, or I've been unworthy of that, or that's never been my reality. I've seen other people do it, but they have X, Y, and Z that I don't have. It helps you to get to that emotional clutter, that baggage, that barrage of debris that is creating resistance from you, getting to the deeper seed of your why. So you're making room. So that's important. And when you're making room, you're allowing for the new levels of creativity, imagination to just flow because you're just naturally, open up in your energy to receive that. You're making energetic space for it to come in, to reside within. Okay? It is in this essence, this why, that you're creating this sacred space for all that you're really asking for to flow to you and effortlessly. But we're being really asked right now to look at the essence, let go of form. And this is hard for us to do because we are in our 3D reality so habituated to creating an identity for ourselves through kind of a material connection to this physical plane, right? What shows up in matter or form is a direct reflection on who we are, like what we have, in other words, is who we are. But this is such a dismal and false representation of how we've created our identity on this planet until now. And honestly, it's not going to be supported in a vibration anymore for where we're going. It's the essence behind it that is so important. Because as I mentioned earlier in this talk as well, how things are going to look, i.e., manifested in form, are not the way we're going to be used to seeing things. It's just going to be different. Everything's going to be different. How are they going to be different? I don't know. But it's going to be different. And I'm a Capricorn. Believe me, I get hung up on details. I get hung up in the minutia of things. That's something that I'm here to work through in this lifetime. I'm a planner. I like details, I like, a certain amount of things to show up as outcomes to give me validation that I'm doing the right thing or I'm on the right path. And I'm coming off a hangover in my own life of being that person. What I'm being asked to do and what we're all being asked to do is Trust that things are going to look the same, but they are going to be better. So that's why we have to let go of form and focus more on the essence. Because that really is, it's the seed of life force energy that has momentum and purpose behind it. And if we are driven more by purpose, if we are driven more by God choices, when we focus on that essence and say, okay, the essence of what I really want is tied up directly with how I'm better stepping up to serve others, how I'm making room energetically for not only my own support, but being able to be a beacon of support for others as well. This is unity consciousness. This is what we are anchoring. We got to start somewhere. Are you guys feeling me on this? Know your invisible why, and you're going to have to dig deep to find it, but you got to find your why. And be honest with your why. I mean, if you have a real desire to make money for the sake of it, I'm not making any judgment on what that is, but you may have been coming off, a long drought in your life of not having the financial means or the financial support to take you in your life where you've been asking to go. So if you're asking for money to show up to do that, what's behind the money? Isn't it support? Isn't it freedom? But go deeper than that. I mean, maybe the deeper why or the deeper essence is that you want to know and completely surrender to the fact that no matter what you want to put out in the world creatively, the resources and the means will show up for you to do it. But what do you want to do in the world? Who's it going to benefit other than yourself? That's what you're being invited to look at. And if your essence is tied up with the God choice and being of greater service, chances are really, really good, like 99.9999%, that what you're asking for is going to show up. But it may not show up as money. That's the thing. Let go of the form and focus more on the essence. What might show up is an incredible opportunity where everything is already paid for, taken care of. So you don't need to be the one that holds the money or has excess amount in your savings or banking account. It could show up in a way that you've never even thought about before, because that's what we're going into. We're going into a place where form is going to take hold, matter is going to take form in ways that we have never been able to imagine before. That's how big this energy is. So spend time this week focusing on your desires. I mean, this is an excellent opportunity to sit down with a pen and paper and write down your true desires. Not only for, what you want to feed into this portal of energy that we're in right now that's very powerful and palpable, but for the next year, the next couple years, the next decade, whatever it is. Time means nothing. If you want to talk to me about time, I'll get into it with you. That's my wheelhouse. That's my jam. Time means nothing. There is no rush. Let go of any time constraints, because that is an addiction and a habituation of form as well, where we're addicted to clock time, and we are. Where we define ourselves by clock time, and we do. This is going the way of the dodo as well, okay? You're welcome, Sharon. I'm glad that this resonates. You're speaking directly to me, Crystal says. That's awesome. So when you're writing down your desires, your true inward, desires, that thing that makes you want to get up in the morning and be like, okay, even if I can break off a little piece of this dream today, I'm going to do that, okay? But trust, if you have that inner propulsion system, that seed of life force energy, which is your why, the true essence behind these desires, that's what you want to focus on. That's what you want to be with. And as you sit down and write these physical desires out, that maybe at first blush you will write them out as they exist in form, but go behind that, reverse engineer that. Why do you want that? Why do you need this to show up? And why do you need to show up in this way? And know that with each thing that you pick apart with this, Energetically, you're making room for the essence of this to show up in the way the universe deems it fit for you. And it may not be in your ego personality the way you want it to show up, the way you've designed it to show up, but that's okay. When you're with the essence, what you're doing is sending out a beacon of your electromagnetic signature, and you're aligning with all the potentials for how that essence can show up in form and in ways that you probably and most likely never have even imagined or could imagine. That's where we're at, folks. It's exciting. And don't be fearful. Please, 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 I invite you not to be fearful. Yes, we are going through a major sea change. Yes, we are going through, a reckoning here on this planet. And there are a lot of storms, as I mentioned before, but what is it doing? Just as you're feeling this storm within yourself, it is making room. It is clearing a path. It's not creating more chaos. If you're focused on that, then that's what you will always see. I invite you to see that storms also clear a path. They clear the air. They open a pathway for new energies to come in. That's where we're at. Love and peace and blessings on all your endeavors. I'll see you guys tomorrow.